Okay, the Houston Texans are being linked to a player that nobody expected, and this offseason has been up and down for the Houston Texans, mostly up, though. A lot of good players they've acquired. The one weird trade, but that's okay. We explored that in a couple other videos, and the trade's fine. It's just that you didn't like it now, basically. But here's the thing. If you've seen lately, the Texans signed cornerback CJ Henderson. And this is interesting. And we'll get to the player that they're being linked to here. Another corner that I really like. So we'll see. But uh, with Henderson in the fold, he joins Derek Stingley Jr., which, as you know, Derek Stingley Jr. whoever was opposite of him, it was like, what the Texans have been just looking for a good cornerback room in general. So, and by the way, if you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel all about teams that don't get the love nationally. And we love the Houston Texans. I feel like they don't get talked about enough, especially being in the same state as the Cowboys. No Cowboys on this channel. Promise you that. Okay, Derek Stingley Jr. Then you get Jeff Okudah, who used to be a Lion. We talked about how he could really be a great pickup. He was the number 3 overall pick. Obviously, he doesn't play anywhere near that. That's fine, though. At this point in his career, you get him for a 1-year deal, and he just needs to be in the right situation, right franchise, and he can flourish. He didn't get a shot with the Lions. It was in between coaching changes. Then he was injured. Then he was traded. So you never know. Desmond King, Mike Ford, D'Angelo Ross, Chris Boyd. So there's a lot going on in the cornerback room. And now you add CJ Henderson. And I like this, and we've talked about this. And the reason you add corners whenever you can is because that disparity coming out of college, it's been like this for the last 4 or 5 years, is there's more talented wide receivers coming out each year than there is corners. And so that gap is just always widening. Who's going to cover these really good receivers, right? And so there's good corners out there, but you gotta be able to cover in today's NFL to give yourself a chance. And you always have to run the ball and stop the run. But if you can't cover and guys are just running wild and you're giving up big explosive plays, it's tough. So I love that the Texans added the corners that they have this year. But Stingley's the headliner, and then you go like, well, okay, we'll see who else can hang in there. And then CJ Henderson, though, is really good, and I love that. Now the next one is Xavier Howard is a free agent, says he's not going back to the Miami Dolphins. He was a captain for the Dolphins, and he said he would love to play for his hometown Texans. And so now here's another guy that you could look at like, okay, he's a free agent corner. You immediately get a starting veteran NFL guy, day one, plug him in, because we just looked at that list. D Ford, I don't know, right? He could be there. Who else was there? Jeff Okudah, yeah, Jeff Okudah. Could. He hasn't really worked. He could. So you don't have like the star 1-2 punch. CJ Henderson, I really like, but boy, wouldn't it be nice to just plug in Xavier Howard right now and say, I would love to go play for Houston Texans, especially back home, the crib. I wouldn't say I've always been a Houston Texans fan, but this offseason, I'm a Houston Texans fan. I've had it tatted on me. I've got the Houston Rockets, the Texans logos tatted on me. Love it. So here it is. They added low-cost corners and nickel Desmond King, but it just appears like, boy, wouldn't that be nice? Just have that one dude that you could really plug in right now. So he suggested he would take a lesser deal to join a contender. So it's a contender. It's back at his hometown, and it's a spot that they kind of need. I'd rather take a pay cut and go to a team that's going to go further in the playoffs. I got my money and stuff like that. I'm in the point like, how much money do you really need? Perfect. My goal is to win a Super Bowl. Don't let the money get in the way of winning a Super Bowl. Love it. Love it. The Dolphins cut him earlier this offseason, turning 31 in July. Fine. Get 1-year deal. 1-year deals. Let's do it. Love that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think it just totally makes sense. Everyone's looking for good corners. You got to have them. You have to. So why not throw him in the mix? Fine. Okuda, you're a backup, or whoever doesn't make the starting role out of the guys that they've brought in. Perfect. That just there'll be room and there's space for you. There's nickel packages, dime packages. Sweet. Okay, next thing. Looking at the latest mock draft, I had it pulled up here in the second round. Let me go back to it. Shocker, right? They've got them taking a corner. Kool-Aid McKinstry. I've seen that guy all over the place, but to have him fall all the way to 42 in this latest mock, again, another corner. Corners are mock high because their positional value is way up. As we've seen, the running back positional value, you can grab one anytime. Don't bother. Corner, you got to get them. You got to get them when you can. So there's another corner being offered up at pick 42 for the Houston Texans. The reason that everyone's so excited about the Texans is because they can make these sort of moves. You can get Xavien Howard because you've got a little bit more wiggle room because you haven't had to pay your quarterback yet. You've got a little bit of a window here. Kind of go for it. Kind of pick guys up when you can. So let me know your thoughts. I'm excited about the Houston Texans in the draft just because I think even though they traded away that first round pick, they still have options and there's still things that they can do. Also, let me know if you plan to attend the draft. It's up here in Detroit. I don't know if anyone's planned to come. That'd be crazy. We are probably not going, just because we want to be able to watch it, talk about it. If we were a higher production team, we could go set up somewhere and do it. But I feel like it's going to be crazy. But yeah, it's coming to Detroit. The draft is about a month away. And from now until then, there's going to be a few moves, but it's a lot of mock drafts. It's a lot of who's going to pick who, what's going to happen. I mean, and there's weird random stories. Like the Lions had a corner. They've been dying to get corners, trying to find them. And we have what was our number one there at a time, corner, on the run from the police. So get corners. You can always find wide receivers somewhat, but corners are hard to get. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, we're Detroit Lions fans that love covering the Texans and love just hanging out. So if you've watched a few videos by now, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see all of you on the next one.